YouTube, with the Oklahoma City Thunder currently tied 2-2 against the Dallas Mavericks in the second round of the Western Conference playoffs, I want to talk about how Oklahoma City, even if they lose this series, they actually play Game 5 tonight at the time of recording this video. If they lose this series, they are still in the driver's seat of the NBA, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that in this video. It's almost like the Oklahoma City Thunder are playing a 2K My GM career simulation and using the trade finder with how one-sided some of these trades have been that they've made in, getting the return that they've been getting. Not only do they have MVP candidate SGA and a balanced roster at that with a rising young core, they also have the coach of the year in Mark Daigneault, and they have more assets than anyone in the NBA, and it's not even close. This is when tanking works to perfection. Let's talk about it, folks. So before I begin this video, I want to talk about how Sam Presti, the general manager of the Oklahoma City Thunder, who makes all these decisions, has done maybe the best job of anyone over the past decade and a half of the NBA in regards to a front office position. He has made this team relevant like 3 separate times and took a small market team that had just relocated from Seattle down to Oklahoma City and turned it into a real legitimate threat in the West. Again, like I said, like 3 straight times. So before learning about how the Oklahoma City Thunder got in the position that they are with basically the keys to the future of the NBA in the palm of their hands, it's important to understand the background of how they got to this point, right? So we all know about, the big 3 in OKC of young Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden, and how those teams kind of sadly, didn't work out the way you would think when just hearing those names on paper, right? So, Oklahoma City was actually in a similar position back then where they had basically, relocated from Seattle. We're just not a very good team, and they tanked a few years in a row, ended up hitting the nail on the head with these top picks 3 straight times with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden, 3 Hall of Famers. And people say, oh, well, those were top picks and those were easy to get and easy to hit on, right? But me being a Sixers fan, I know maybe better than anyone, top picks aren't always a sure thing. I mean, if you look at the Sixers top pick, history over the past 10 years, you would see that it is very, very easy and more common than not to miss on top draft picks. So Sam Presti builds this team together. They make the finals in 2012, lose to the Heat. Things look great. And all of a sudden, they lose James Harden. I think that was more of an ownership issue and, not wanting to pay James Harden a max contract than anything else. They get, pennies on the dollar for Harden, basically. And that was really the beginning of the end of the OKC, KD, and Russell Westbrook era. While they, did make several trips to the Western Conference Finals after that and built a really, really solid threat to the Warriors in the West, they were never able to get over that hump. And obviously losing Harden to the Rockets was a massive part of that. And, then KD leaves to the Warriors in 2016, which was a real shame for the Thunder. And Russell Westbrook goes on to, average triple-double and win his MVP. Thunder acquire Paul George, and, things look pretty good. They were a pretty good team in the West, but they were never going to beat Golden State or anything like that. So eventually they move on from those guys, and maybe Sam Presti pulls off the heist of the last, decade or so in trading Paul George for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and some picks. I mean, looking back on this, knowing what we know now with Paul George maybe leaving the Clippers in free agency, never winning a title, and how that's worked out for the Clippers, that's a lot of, it's a different topic for a different video. But SGA, who was a promising young player, I don't even think Sam Presti could have predicted he would be, top 3 in MVP voting in just a few short years after that trade. So they acquire SGA and, some assets here and there from these teams willing to sell bad contracts or draft picks, and Thunder take on everyone's bad contracts, right? And they get all these first round picks for them. They start acquiring all this stuff. They actually get Chris Paul and make the playoffs, in 2020, I believe. And then, Chris Paul moves on to Phoenix, and the rest is history with that. But basically the Thunder have been a team that has been tanking consistently, before this season for the past 5 years or so, taking assets left and right and just robbing these teams blind because these teams make bad decisions. One that comes off the top of my head is the Al Horford signing for the Sixers, right? Like, this is a scenario where Sixers messed up, signed Al Horford to a massive contract that was way too much at the time and didn't work out, obviously. And then the Sixers won out of that contract because they know they messed up. So they have to now give things up to get rid of the bad decision for the contract that they made, right? So they end up trading Al Horford to the Thunder, who just buy out Al Horford. And the Sixers actually end up giving picks in that deal so that, because if you're going to take bad contracts on, you better be getting something in return. So, they get some draft picks out of it. And not only that, when you receive a really large contract, you get an expiring contract, or you can buy it out. But fast forward to 2024, the Thunder go into this season with a promising young superstar in SGA, a rising core of Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams, and a young nucleus around these guys that are pretty solid NBA role players, if I say, with what appears to be a mastermind of a coach in Mark Daigneault, and the timeline fits perfectly with everything involved in in this scenario. On top of that, the Thunder have what seems like half of the league's draft picks over the next, 5 years, which we'll get into in a little bit. And not only that, they became one of the best teams in the NBA before anyone thought they would, right? I think going into the season, everyone was like, they're kind of a play-in type team, maybe a lower seed playoff team, and they're about a superstar away from making some noise. They got a lot of assets they can deal in the offseason to cash out on all of their, great draft pick moves and stuff like that and get that superstar to take them over the top. That's not the case. The Thunder end up looking like the winner in every single trade they've ever made over the past 5 years, because now you're 2 games away from the Western Conference Finals. You're the number 1 seed in the West. You have the most promising future of any NBA team by far. It's not even close. And you have the flexibility to be able to get basically whoever you want. Whoever wants to come to OKC, they can, because they have the money. They're going to have about $30 million in cap, from what I understand, in 2024, be able to sign anyone they want in free agency. They have all the draft picks necessary to get whoever they want. Like I said, whoever's willing to trade their superstars away. All of their, great young players other than SGA are on, rookie contracts. So they have the timeline that matches everything. And so basically, the Thunder are going to be as good as they want to be in the next 5 years. If this team doesn't win a championship in the next 5 years, let me tell you, it's anything but Sam Presti's fault, because this dude has put this team in a position to where they are playing chess while everyone else in the NBA is playing checkers. Front office wise, Thunder be able to get whoever they want, whenever they want. And, everyone thinks that this could be the offseason where they finally cash out on all these draft picks. But even if you don't do that, you have all these draft picks to be able to supplement your young guys with, take swings in the draft, right? So it's just like an endless revolving door of amazing assets and players that the Thunder can maybe even maintain if they don't want to cash out on them, right? So this is what tanking is supposed to look like. This is what the results are supposed to look like if everything goes perfectly. Like I said, my Sixers in the process era was a prime example of a tanking team who did things wrong. They rushed it, they made some really, really bad big time decisions, and all of a sudden you're left with no assets, 1 superstar, now 2, but we got lucky with Maxey, and you just run dry on your assets when you keep, trading them away and fumbling your way through it, right? So we've seen teams like the Sixers, we've seen teams like the Pistons, the Spurs, all of these teams tanking to get, high picks in the lottery, but not all of them do it the right way. Thunder looked like, they had a timeline of what they wanted to do, and they executed it flawlessly. Like I said, taking the other team's scraps and hanging on to them, and now all of a sudden they are the richest team in the NBA, asset wise, draft pick wise, salary wise. The ball's in their court. Like I said, it's like they're playing my GM in 2K. They're doing the trade finder every single day and just robbing teams blind. Like, they're one of the only teams in the NBA who their future can totally be decided by them. It's almost like they have control over their own destiny, which is, basically what you want in the NBA. A lot of teams just don't have the necessary roster and everything around that to be able to make a dynasty in the NBA. A lot of things have to go their way. A lot of things have to work out perfectly down the line. Thunder have total control over that. So let's talk about the draft picks that the Thunder hold and maybe what they might do with them in the future and what their roster looks like moving forward if, everything stays similar and nothing crazy happens that I'm not foreseeing. So in 2024, this upcoming draft, the Thunder have the Utah Jazz pick, the LA Clippers pick in the first round, and really unfortunate the way it worked out for OKC, because basically, they had the Houston Rockets pick, but that was a top 4 protected pick, and by some miracle, I think it was like a 4.5% odds, the Houston Rockets move up into the top 3. So let's say the Rockets move from, I think they were 8th in the lottery. Let's say they move from 8 to 5, and then all of a sudden that's the Thunder's 5th overall pick, but they end up moving into the 3rd position, and now the Rockets get to keep their pick, which is super unfortunate for the Thunder. Really missed out on that one, but you still have 2 first-round picks this year, including the 12th overall pick in this draft. In 2025, you have either the Houston Rockets or the Clippers pick. You have Miami's pick, you have Philadelphia's pick, you have your own first-round pick, and 2 seconds. So that's 4 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks just next year, right? And like I said, you would expect these draft picks to be from a team that's like really, really desperate, like Washington or Detroit or San Antonio, people that sold their entire franchises away and superstars for these picks. That's who you'd expect to have a draft pick list like this, but not the Thunder, who are literally 2 games away from the Western Conference Finals. This is insane. I've never seen a team with this many assets as good as they are. It's not even, possible. It's like I said, it's literally like a MyGM 2K. I can't stress that enough. In 2026, you have your own first round pick and 3 second round picks. In 2027, you have 3 first round picks, 2 second round picks. In 2028, you have 2 first round picks, 3 second round picks. In 2029, you have 2 first round picks, 6 second round picks. And in 2030, you have 1 first round pick and 3 second round picks. I mean, this is like I said, 25% of the league's draft picks, and it's a lot of the same teams you see in that list, that made some bad trades to the Oklahoma City Thunder. But man, Sam Presti has really done a better job than almost anyone I've ever seen. You know, even if the Thunder don't win a championship in the next 2 years, he has put this team in a position where, you know, they have total control over their destiny. They can do whatever they want in every single offseason with these picks. You know, they can move anything they want around, and that's exactly what you want as a GM. We always talk about flexibility on this channel, how that helps a team in the offseason. When unexpected things happen, you can use that flexibility to get things done that you need that maybe you didn't foresee down the road, or just to put your team over the top. You know, the Thunder are in a position right now, like I said, they're about a superstar or a star away from being the best team in the NBA. Not to mention, this team is one of the youngest teams in the NBA. I mean, they have like 2 veterans on that entire roster, right? So you have a young nucleus, big 3, right, of SGA, who is obviously as good as a number 1 in the league, maybe as you're gonna find, other than like Luka, Jokic, and Giannis, right? Your number 1 of the future is solidified. Your number 2, Jalen Williams, is clearly a rising star. You know what I mean? This guy has all-star type upside. I think maybe he's more of a number 3 than a number 2, but we'll have to see how he develops. Again, this is a second-year player we're talking about right now, and he's already better than anyone projected, so you got to give him some time. But just with the skill set at hand, I think maybe more of a dominant number 3 than a dominant number 2 as we speak. Chet Holmgren, who is basically your big man of the future, no doubt about it. Dude is special, generational type talent on both ends of the floor, and his ceiling maybe is higher than anyone's on the team if we really want to look at it like that. You have one of the best shooters in the entire NBA in Isaiah Joe, who you stole from my Philadelphia 76ers. I'll never get over that, by the way. Dude is a sniper, and he's young. You hate to see it, man. Come on, Daryl Morey. You draft a young guy like Cason Wallace, who is a pest on the ball, on the perimeter, defensively, and provides a lot of stability offensively, especially for a rookie. The dude looks like a veteran already. Really solid role player. Josh Giddey situation, we'll have to see what happens with that. I'm not sure he really fits the team that well anymore. In the playoffs, his, you know, role is really diminishing here, and I would expect if the Thunder fill out their roster more, that could even happen even more. But either way, Josh Giddey is a really talented offensive player who at minimum is a good trade piece for a future scenario. Talk about guys like Jalen Williams off the bench, who has solid production as a backup 4 or 5. Gordon Hayward, who has been a non-factor for the Thunder, and that's probably one of the worst trades they've made, but still not even bad. You didn't give up much to get him, and now he's an expiring $30 million off your books. Aaron Wiggins, who has developed into a nice 2-way 3-and-D guy, really solid wing on the role player position, and there's just a ton of young pieces on this team that I think only are going to get better and better, like I said, but you already have your core guys, right? If you just add like a Paul George type player, or I'm just thinking about guys on the market right now, Paul George, who has already been on that team before, so maybe that's an intriguing thought. Brandon Ingram, like these types of, you know, star type players, really solid number 2 options, some of the best in the league, could really put the Thunder over the top in the Western Conference, and I expect that to be heavily pursued in the offseason with all these draft picks they have, and you know, that includes Brandon Ingram. I think he might be the best fit of all for available players on the market for the Oklahoma City Thunder. But this is what happens when a GM is just, you know, outpacing and outplaying other GMs on the market for a long time. This is what the result is, man. The Thunder have the best future of any team. They hold the keys to the future of the NBA. What will they do with it? We'll have to see. Let me know down in the comment section what you think about it, because it's going to be an interesting offseason for a lot of teams, and the Thunder are no exception there. You know, I'm probably going to be doing a deep dive on the Thunder's offseason and what I expect and predict for them to do in the offseason, so make sure you guys subscribe if you guys don't want to miss that in the future. We upload content just like this on this channel every single day, so make sure you guys stick around and subscribe if you guys did enjoy it. Drop a like on the video if you guys did, because it really helps out the video, helps new people find the video, and it would mean a lot to me. I just love basketball, man, and I'm here to share my passion with you guys every day. I know you guys are passionate as well. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and like I said, let me know down in the comment section what you think of the Thunder. I'm telling you, man, this is a trade finder my GM type of situation they have. It's just not even fair, it seems, at this point. So if I'm a GM right now, I'm staying off the phone with Sam Presti. He's just going to take everything I have somehow, some way. I don't know what he does in these negotiations, but man, he is good. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will catch you guys in the next one. This is your boy D-Have, and as always, peace.